welcome to the Black Tower, and I am your host, the Sorcerer, Aramanasul. Uh, Today I wanted to talk about sorcery. I've been doing videos on Necronomicon, all things Necronomicon. I'm going to continue to do that, but I found it important that I wanted to stop in that particular aspect and kind of maybe do a basis of something that's a little bit more general towards the practitioners, no matter what path you walk. However, I want to go over sorcery. Okay. Now, I choose sorcerer as what I am concerning what I do. What is a sorcerer, though? Okay, so check it. Like in magic in general, you have so many different types of practitioners. You have witches, you have mages, you have people who call themselves warlocks, you have this, you have that, priests, so forth and so on. Okay, so what's so cool, what's so important about a sorcerer? Okay, now I can only give this in a concept or a theory based on my own. Okay, but for each of us, we all have to figure it out for ourselves, the way we're going to do it, and what we align ourselves with. I myself, I follow sorcery because to me it's an antinomian path. It breaks the rules, it breaks the laws. Now, here's what I mean by that, because there might be a lot of people going, well, what do you mean breaking the rules, breaking the laws? Okay. So you have a general set of laws or rules, like whatever you send out, energy, when it goes out, it's got to come back. I mean, that's just simply put. Okay, but a sorcerer doesn't worry about the whole should I or shouldn't I. A sorcerer, to become a sorcerer, to consider yourself a sorcerer, you need to have some kind of idea of what it is that you believe in. Your own honor code, your own path that you're going to walk, the rules that you yourself are going to abide by. Now, I'm certain that this isn't any different than, being a magician or being a witch or being anything like that. But it's always important that you find a title or a path of sorts that invigorates you, that makes you feel powerful, that comes from a deep, dark, seated place inside you. And for me, Sorcerer did that, okay? Because check it, we're not all puppy killers, but at the same time, we're not all tree huggers. Not that there's anything wrong with either one of those, but I'm not gonna go around killing the damn puppies. I love puppies and kittens too. But that's neither here nor there. Concept of all this that I really wanted to go over. It's been a long time since I've done a video. I keep noticing that there's longer and longer amounts of time in between my videos, and I do apologize for that. However, I would like to do a quick shout out to Priest of the Necro, who keeps challenging me in really weird ways. And by challenge, I don't mean an affront to myself, but he inspires me, and I call that a challenge. It's a personal challenge. It's brother to brother, friend to friend, and that's always awesome. Check out his new video he did on altars. I think you'll find that very interesting. All of his videos are very interesting, very in-depth. Some he covers a little bit more extensively than others, but they're all worth watching. So if you get a chance, check out Priest of the Necro on YouTube. Also, I would like to do a shout out to some brothers, to Frater Nebo, to Brother Baroninzu Abula Akazaj, to Brother Hareth. Hey guys, how y'all doing? Okay, so anyway, back to this concept of sorcery. Okay, now there are a lot of things that we could do, that we could say about this. But let's start with the simplest base of it all, magic. What inspires you? What draws you? What pulls your power out of you? What reaches deep down inside you into the darkest places of your whole being? And that they call the night side, that which is referred to as the shadow, that which is the daemon. Okay? We want to invigorate that. We want to bring that to light. In sorcery, it is a must. And the reason why is because it's symbolic of dark, of night. And here's what that means in a nutshell. Your secret power, your secret throne, your seat of self. Okay? Now, we're not talking about the ego. Although the ego, that is where it was born. That's where it was created. That's where it comes from. We want to work with that, but we want to work with that in a constructive manner, not one that, overinflated ego. I consider say, I am the God, I am honest fool, blah, blah, blah. You must listen to me, and my words are the words of truth, blah, blah, blah. Bullshit. Okay? I am just a man. I am a reflection of a greater reflection that is a reflection of even greater reflection. However, I find my image to be an image I created. I made the demon that I am. I made the angel that I am. I made the God form of combining the angel and the demon in one. And I made it a perfected being. And I try to embody and exhibit that being, that perfected being. But how did I get there? Okay, well, let's start this out, and let's do this the right way. Okay, so you want to become a sorcerer. You want to be able to combine all the elements of yourself, and you want to find that deep, secret, hidden, dark place inside you where your true power lies. How do you do that? Well, let's start with the trappings of a sorcerer. What are the trappings of a sorcerer, you ask? Well, that is the magical practice, the wear, the clothing, whether it be rings, amulets, necklaces, robes, whether it's just that you dress in all black or, like let's say that you believe that purple or whatever color you choose, okay? But for this, we always try to keep it simple. Try to keep it very simple. So starting off, you're gonna wanna incorporate black, and I know that's a little bit cliche, but black represents the inner darkness of you, okay? And then we're going to add a little bit of color. Let's go with red. Let's go with a crimson red. And here's why crimson red. Because it represents a lot of things. It represents the blood in your veins, which resonate with the power of your spirit, okay? So we got black and we have red, okay? Now, black is going to be the base because it's going to represent where your power is being pulled from. It's that dark place within, okay? And then red is going to symbolize your desire, your lust, your drive, your will, the formation of power being moved, okay? So, like let's take, for example, the inverted pentagram. It's often seen as satanic, left hand, all this, that, and the other. But did you know that it most importantly symbolizes your will, the force, your life force, the force of your will, the force of your mind, the force of your desire and your intent, okay? Now, I'm not going to get carried away in all the different symbols because there are tons out there. 8-point stars, 7-point stars, so forth, so on. You have all this, but we're trying to keep this simple, okay? So let's work on just the trappings, okay? So like I use a black robe, okay, and it has a hood. Now, I don't always keep my hood up. I put my hood up when I need to fully encapsulate energy within myself, when I need to build the power within me of shadow, okay? But most times not. After I've built it up, I pull the hood back. Now, I took a red cloth, red piece of fabric, and I cut it into like a V shape, lines, and I made a mask. I cut out the holes. I put a line where the mouth should be, and I drew on it, designed it, made it into a demon mask. Now, what's so important about masks? Well, every day that you live, you're wearing a mask. And you're awake, you're moving, you're talking to people, you're wearing a mask. Whether it's a socially acceptable mask, whether it's a taboo mask, whether it's whatever. This is all just symbolic, okay? But in ritual, we want to incorporate these type of items. The reason why is because the more outlandish and the more out there you are when you're doing your rituals, when you're doing your magic, the more in tune with your true darker self that you become. Now, your darker self in this sense, I would hope and pray that you'd understand that it has nothing to do with good and evil, okay? So I'm going to, from here on out, pretend or, conceptualize that you already understand this, that you already know this. So I won't have to keep repeating this because I think that's a bit redundant after a while. However, okay, so once you have any form of mask that you want, whether you make it, whether you buy it, whatever, you got your robes. I actually use the robe from a Scream Halloween costume, which is really ridiculous, but it works for me because it's just something simple. It's never supposed to be too elaborate. Now, I go over it and use silver thread in the hems and the cuffs and stuff like that. I even mark on it in bright colors, usually any color that'll stand out so that it signifies power runes. Okay, so basically, once you have your attire done, then let's move on to necklaces, rings, anything like that. Find something that to you screams uh, dark, disdain, things that most people are scared of. The reason why is because we're going to turn our fear into a strength. Because, see, a symbol has power due to the fact that people who have seen it over time uh, put certain thoughts towards it. And so we're going to be working from a shadow, or we're going to be working from a place of fear. Now, we're not trying to induce fear in others. We're not trying to make people go running for the hills screaming. And that would cause a riot and witch hunts and everything. We don't want all that because, we're supposed to be doing this shit, in our sacred space, because it's not about what others think of us. It's what we think of us. Okay. So anyway, put together whatever items, whatever jewelry. I don't care if it's cheap. I don't care if it's expensive, elaborate, whatever. But you need to find items that scream to you, that have meaning, like a deep meaning. And anyway, you're going to want to cover yourself in these. Because in sorcery, it's very important that you use all the elements that invoke emotion, that stir your mind, that puts your mind on fire. Okay? And then what you're going to do is, once you've got this done, then you're going to find a set of symbols or things that have meaning to you. I have a deer skull that I've painted solid black, and I have a red pentagram on its forehead, and its horns are also painted red, because that to me symbolizes power, true power. Okay? And it doesn't matter what kind. I don't care if it's a fake skull, if it's a real skull, whatever. Whatever's lawful that you can get away with. Put it on your altar. It is symbolic of the death and decay, and it is symbolic. It is a channel to the underworld and to the other world, from beyond the angles to wherever. Okay, and what you're going to do is you're going to consecrate this in whatever manner that you find. There are tons of books out there on tapping into currents and so forth and so on. But the important thing, and here's why I've led all the way to this point, if in your mind you decide sorcerer, what are the connotations of a sorcerer? What does a sorcerer mean to you? For myself, a sorcerer is this. A sorcerer is somebody who knows the rules, who knows the laws, who is very much aware of the connection of things. Whether it be symbolism, whether it be herbs, whether it be incense, oils, the power of your blood, so forth and so on. But what you're going to do is you're going to familiarize yourself with these things. And you're going to incorporate them into your own physical, magical practice. I think it's interesting that my brother, Priest of the Necro, came up with the idea of doing altars. I've recently redone my own altar. It was rather simple to begin with anyway, but it worked just fine. It had my key on it, and certain of the Necronomicon symbols of the aura, the aga, and the bandar. Anyway, that being neither here nor there, I decided I wanted to go a little bit deeper. I wanted to go a little bit darker. I wanted to expand what I'm pulling from. So I decided to redo my altar. Okay. Oh, this involved a lot of research into the symbols that I wanted to apply to my altar. So I broke out my solid black white obsidian stone egg, because I wanted to represent the womb, the egg of becoming, and I wanted to reinvigorate that into my own self. Well, I put it on my altar to represent that, and whether I'm doing a ritual using it or whether I just have it there, it is gaining power as it sits, as it builds. All items do this on an altar, by the way. However, okay, so I have a really nice dagger, or atame, that was given to me by a brother, by Frater Nebo, that I decided I would use it because it's black handle, stainless steel, and it's long, and it just screams that it's used for directing and powering. I have a sword that I've been using for my watcher. However, I've used it for years for all sorts of things. Now, it is dedicated to my watcher, but I use it as a focal point for commanding myself, not a spirit. But that, those are just some of the things that I've incorporated. There are other things that I won't talk about, but that's because they're for me. Like you have some people who use blood in their rituals and magic and their spells, and you have some who don't. The only blood I ever use is my own. I will not use anybody else's. I will not use an animal's. I will only use my own because it is power, energy, focus, and intent that I've built up within me. How is blood supposed to be charged with your intent if it does not come from you? Or at least that's my belief, my concept. And seeing that is part of about what being a sorcerer is all about. Is what connects with you. What do you connect with? What do you believe? Anyway, and so a sorcerer isn't always one of these dark, evil assholes that are power hungry and are just like, stealing everybody's secrets and their power and like, I'll destroy you, blah, blah, blah. I would hope you come from a balanced place because you have to redefine what a sorcerer is, because if you listen to society and everything else, they always give off this image of a dark, evil figure who's up to no good. Okay, maybe I'm up to no good 98% of the time, but I'm up to no good in the sense of going against the order of things, because the order of the world is awesome. The order of the universe, great and dandy. But the order of my life, I don't want society leading that. I don't want other people ruling that. This is my life. Not yours, not anyone else's. This is my life. And you have to look at your life like that. You have to respect, love, and honor yourself first and foremost, because that is the most important building tools of a true sorcerer. Because you have to come from a very strong base. And that base must start with you. Okay? Now, I'm a very honorable person. I'm not going to smack you unless you smack me. And I'll give anybody 2 chances. And after that, I wipe my hands of them. But if they become a nuisance and continue, then I will remove you. I have no problem doing that. I don't have a moral qualm over it. When I'm done, I'm done. But see, that is my personal code, my personal honor in action, in motion. I'm not directing this at any of you, so I don't want you to get carried away or thinking that, maybe I was pinpointing. I'm not. This is a generalized belief and practice that I live by. I live every day by this. But at the same hand, when I love somebody, there is nothing I will not do to help them or to be there or to be a brother or to be a person. Because that is first and foremost, to be the best you. Not to be the best you that the world wants. No. To be the best you that you want. That is the most important part about being a sorcerer. And you can say that, well, that sounds a lot like a magician or a witch because, they're always working, in the perfection of self. This is true, but once again, let's go back to why I chose sorcerer. I chose sorcerer because it has a deeper, darker overtone, and because I'm attracted to it, because I'm pulled to it. Not because I live in a fantasy world. No. But to a degree, I do, but I live in a fantasy world that I chose, that I created, that I finely tuned the details of. I can be inspired by anything, but I will perfect its vision here. And the most important reason why you've got to do that is because you've got to be able to control it. Because see, magic running rampant, that's fine. Sometimes that's great. Sometimes that's just what you need. You need the universe to bring something that you didn't have to work at to get or whatever. But 90% of the time, you're going to find that you need to control the events in your life. You need to control the influences that surround you and that come into and out of your life. There are very few things that you're going to have absolutely no control over. and they're characterized and symbolized by the major arcana of the tarot. Uh, the minor arcana are always representative of the things that we can control. And I'm not trying to get off on a tarot tangent, but it's a concept that is utilized in my own practice, is understanding, the two different types of tarot, the major and the minor. It is no different than the microcosm, which is us, and the macrocosm, which is the whole of creation. When you connect the dots like that, you make yourself a vehicle of those powers just from acknowledging, just from understanding, just from realizing it. Okay? And with all things sorcery, with all things Necronomicon, with all things antinomian in nature, it's all based on how well did you build your world. Well, to build a magical universe or a world that you're going to exist in, you have to start with you first. And then you go to your surroundings, which is your altar room, your house, or whatever, your bedroom, if you still live at home with your parents, it doesn't really matter. And then you start to work on the astral world. You build a realm on the astral plane that is just yours. And yes, it's all these things will change over time, and they're supposed to. Because, see, that's part of being a sorcerer, is that you allow change, that you keep the door open so that things constantly change. Because the difference between a sorcerer and a magician or a witch or anything like that isn't that you're fighting order. It isn't that you're fighting change. It's that you leave the door open to a constant influx of change. Because we do not wish to become stagnant. Because when you become stagnant, you die spiritually. Our beliefs and our truths and everything else, they must evolve, which means they must constantly change. And for me, it was a very, very simple step to take. Just to consider myself a sorcerer was enough. Because with my concept of what a sorcerer represents or what it stands for, when I decided to call myself a sorcerer and I took upon myself a sorcerer's name, I opened the door, or I opened myself to the current, so that those powers could constantly be influxed in my own life. Well, that's it for right now, but, I will be back with more videos. I want to thank every single one of you, my new subscribers. Wow, it's really taken off. It went from me talking to myself to like 3 people, and all of a sudden I think I'm up to 14 subscribers now, And I see people where, they're thankful about their subscribers and stuff, but they're at great numbers, and I'm just sitting here like, oh, holy shit, because at first I was like, wow, I have 9 subscribers, and then all of a sudden it's like 14. I was like, holy cow, this is cool. I just want each and every one of you to know that I appreciate you, I respect you, and brother to brother or brother to sister, I love you in that spirit, Peace and blessings to every single one of you. Feel free to leave comments. I have a closed Facebook group called the Black Tower, and it's just for sorcerers. It's where we toss ideas back and forth. We're just starting off as far as on a Facebook group, because I don't really care for the medium, but all of a sudden I decided, hey, I want to do this. I want to actually do this, and thanks to Brother Hareth, I was able to actually take it upon myself to actually go that extra step, because that's what we're all supposed to be here for, is to inspire each other, So let's keep the dark dreaming alive. Let us inspire one another. Let those dark stars shine, for we are all stars, So peace and blessings to each and every one of you. Well met, You guys take it easy. Till next time.